Hello friends, the Tipsy Tamarind here. I should probably explain that to you. So, I'm the Tipsy Tamarind. The tipsy part is easy. In this show, I'm going to be showcasing recipes that I like to cook, and I'm also going to be getting drunk. We're going to be having a beer or a cocktail while we cook. The tamarind part, I just feel like I really relate to them because that's a cute little monkey and it has a majestic beard. So, you know. Anyways, today we're going to be cooking carnitas. These are not traditional carnitas by any means, but it's the way that I like to cook carnitas, and it's really fast, it's really simple, and most importantly, it's delicious. So let's get cooking. Let's talk about this delicious beer we're going to be sipping on today. This is a margarita lime gose. It's got flavors of pink salt, key lime, and tangerine. It comes from a little brewery called Trim Tab in Alabama, and it pours out in this beautiful hazy golden color. It's going to pair perfectly with our carnitas today. And if you can get this in your area, I highly recommend it. To start, we want to prepare some toppings for these tacos. And this is undoubtedly one of the best toppings you can have on a taco: pickled onions. So go ahead and grab your sharpest knife, get your onion, peel off that pesky outer layer, and slice up this onion into 1/8 inch slices. You can use a mandolin for this task, but I feel like those are really dangerous, and I always think I'm going to cut off my fingies, so I just use a knife. But it really shouldn't take you too long, and once we get these all chopped up, we're going to prepare the spices that are going to go in our pickling jar. So grab yourself a dry pan and throw in 1 teaspoon of whole coriander seeds and 1 bay leaf, and toast those bad boys until they smell amazing. After you've woken up the flavors and the spices, and potentially your neighbors too, you're going to want to take those out, put them to the side, and grab 1 cup of red wine vinegar. And to that, we'll add 1/2 cup of water and 2 tablespoons of sugar. If you like it a little less sweet, feel free to use 1 tablespoon. And stir that up until everything is dissolved. Once that happens, you can take this off the heat and put it to the side. Once we have everything prepared, we're going to go ahead and throw it into a mason jar. Now don't skimp out here, folks. Go ahead and get yourself the OG ball mason jar. It's going to perform the best for this task. We'll take our toasted coriander seeds and our bay leaf and throw that in there. Then we'll grab 1 whole but smashed garlic clove and all of our onion slices. It is important during this step that you spill most of the onions on your counter. That's a little extra flavor. Lastly, you'll take your brine mixture and pour that into the mason jar. It is worth noting that these are best had a couple of days later, maybe even 3 days. So make sure to allow yourself some time for that. Luckily, through the magic of TV and my preparation skills, we already have some pickled onions prepared for today. Next, we're going to prepare a roasted garlic avocado spread to go on our tortilla. And this is really easy. We're going to start out by roasting some garlic. So cut off the top of a garlic head to expose the cloves. And then grab yourself some aluminum foil and place the garlic head in the middle. Then drizzle some extra virgin olive oil on top. Afterwards, you'll wrap this as tight as you can, making sure that none of the oil is going to spill out in the oven. Then you'll throw your garlic into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 30 to 40 minutes. And to reward all of your hard work, go ahead and sip on that delicious beer. Once the garlic has roasted, it's going to be nice and ooey gooey, but also really, really hot. So I'm using cotton gloves with a nitrile glove on top of it, and that's going to protect my fingers from getting burnt. Or you can wait until it cools down. That works too. At this point, it should be really easy to squeeze the garlic cloves out of the head. Oh, let me try that again. There we go. Then you'll grab a ripe avocado, slice right down the middle until you hit that pit. And give it the old twisty turn. Then go to anger management school and stab that pit. At this point, you're just going to peel off the skin. It should come off really easy if you have a ripe avocado. And we'll grab our roasted garlic and realize that our bowl we chose is much too small. But that's okay. We're just going to keep mashing up this avocado, and eventually we should be able to get all of it in there. At this point, you want to grab yourself a thick pork shoulder or Boston butt, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to chop this up into 1-inch cubes. And the method that I like to use is I just keep having this piece of meat until I reach those 1-inch cubes. And you can make decisions on how you want it to look. I try to aim for a good fat distribution in each piece. After you're done, you should have something that looks like this. So we're going to take all of our pieces of pork shoulder and throw them into the pressure cooker. I feel like now is a good time to mention that I don't use my electronic pressure cooker for all that much, but in this particular scenario, I was able to cut down the amount of time it takes me to make my carnitas from 3 hours to 30 minutes without compromising in quality. So I really can't recommend this method enough. Now we're going to add some flavorings to the carnitas. We're going to start by using an orange 2 different ways. First off, we're going to grab some of the zest from the skin. And then secondly, we're going to add the juice from the orange. Now, this is a lot easier if you have an orange juicer. I don't, so I'm using the primitive method of slicing off the skin and squeezing it into the pot. But Use whatever is most comfortable for you. Next up, we're going to add 8 cloves of garlic. You might be thinking, well, wait a second, aren't we putting garlic in the avocado spread? Yes, we are. And we're also doing it here. If you don't like garlic, this might not be the right channel for you. Lastly, we're going to add some spices. To start, we do want to generously salt this. So 1 heaping tablespoon of kosher salt. Then we're going to follow that up with 1 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. And unfortunately, I did not film myself putting the other spices in there, but I will be sure to list them in the description. Just as a recap, we're putting almost 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, and half a teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice. Once everything is thoroughly mixed, go ahead and set your pressure cooker to 30 minutes on high pressure. After those 30 minutes are up, you're going to want to switch the nozzle on the top to venting. Just ensure that you keep your fingers away from the steam. It will hurt badly otherwise. Then take one out and make sure that it's nice and moist and tender. When you're completely happy with it, grab your best spider and fish out the rest of the pork shoulder. At this point, it's going to be handy to have a fat separator. We're going to take all of that delicious fatty broth and strain it into our fat separator. Because traditionally, carnitas are deep fried in their own fat. We're not going to go quite that far, but we're going to get pretty close. We're going to put the fat into a hot cast iron skillet and sear our pork shoulder that way. So here we are, we've got our cast iron skillet. We're going to heat that up on medium-high heat. And then we're going to dispense our pork fat into the pan. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Once the oil hits about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, you can put your pieces of pork shoulder in there. We're looking to get some really nice caramelization here, and that's going to take about 7 to 8 minutes, about 4 minutes on each side. As a side note, you might get some splattering here, so make sure to wear an apron and gloves if you've got sensitive fingers. That is exactly what we're looking for, that dark brown color. And once you're happy with the browning, you can take them off. Now we're going to assemble the tacos. So I've got some store-bought tortillas here that I've toasted up. If you want to be fancy-dancy, feel free to make your own. They will taste better. But we're going to spread our roasted garlic avocado spread onto the tortilla. Then we're going to grab a couple of pieces of our carnitas. and top those with our beautiful pickled onions. And last but not least, you'll definitely want some cilantro on here. If you want to go above and beyond, feel free to put some cojita cheese on there as well. And finally, the moment of truth, when we get to try our tasty creation. And if I do say so myself, these were delicious, as they always are. So this is how I like to do carnitas. I like it because it's fast, it's super tasty. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.